Between long to-do lists, email responses, and the never-ending cycle of meetings, being an entrepreneur requires you to wear many hats and perform various tasks. All of these tasks, however, can be incredibly time-consuming. In one of my last videos, we talked about how important it is to manage your time as a marketer. We discussed a lot of strategies on how you can save a lot of time, and one of those is to automate your social media post. But aside from automating when your content should be posted, there are actually a lot of business tasks that can be automated too. Well, what do you know, right? And that is what we're going to tackle here today. Hey everyone, my name's Lisa Ann, and today we'll address the question, what kind of automation is best for your business? I'm sure you've all heard about automation, but I don't think everyone knows just how many options there are or just how simple it actually is. Even if you don't use all of these things that I'm recommending here, at least educating you about some of these today can mean you'll think to make use of it in the future. Let's start off with automating your social media engagement. I mentioned earlier that you can automate the schedule of what time and day your post should actually go live. But what if, when your content goes up, you're asleep? Or maybe you're just not online, and you receive an urgent message from someone who's interested in your post or maybe even in your offer. You wouldn't want to lose that user, right? Well, I've got some good news because you can automate your social media page to actually respond for you to anyone who inquires while you are offline. Now, there are several paid apps that you can use to do this, and while they can be plenty helpful, it can also get pretty expensive. So this will depend on your actual needs. But don't worry, you can also take advantage of free features of some of the social media platforms that you're already using. So for example, on Facebook Messenger, you can set up auto responses. Although the autoresponder is limited because it's free, you can still do a few things that I think is really valuable within your business. First, you can set up a message telling the users that you're currently away. You can inform them that you need time to respond. And you can also communicate your working hours so they have an idea of when you'll be able to actually get in touch with them. But that is not even the best part. You can also set up answers to your most frequently asked questions, such as how much is your product or how much is it to work with you with your service-based industry. With this nifty tip, you can sleep soundly knowing that someone is responding to your fans. Another thing that you can automate under engagement is the comments on your post. You can definitely set up a bot to automatically reply to any individual who comments based on triggers or based on keywords that they're actually commenting with. But this strategy, as I said, this one will also cost us to pay for extra softwares. But one thing that we can all be happy about though is that you can hide or delete offensive comments on your post that may bring negativity to your page. Again, let's use Facebook for our example. One of the free features that you have within your Facebook page is to automatically moderate comments. So in your page settings, you can add words that you want to ban from your page. Now what's going to happen is if anyone comments using that certain word, it will either automatically delete it or just hide it for other people to see it. Isn't it nice to be able to set up such filters on your comments? Well, that is a lot of saved time just by automatically automating your engagement with your fans. But let's move on to our next one that I want to talk about. Let's talk about automating your list building task. In one of my last videos about how to grow your email list with engaged audiences on social media, I talked about offering a lead magnet in exchange for your traffic's email address. This process is really effective, but it can be a lot of work if you're doing this manually. So one of the ways that you can automate this process is by incorporating popular forms on your website or even on a landing page. Now, how does this work? Generally, what happens is pop-ups are usually automated forms in a smaller window that automatically prompts the users when a certain trigger or action is performed. Now, there are several ways that pop-ups can be used, but one example is a timed pop-up. So this works by appearing on your landing page or even within your website after a visitor has remained there for a designated amount of time. Now, another one is the exit intent pop-up, which automatically appears just as your visitor is about to leave that site. By using automated pop-ups, you can increase the chances of capturing your visitor's email address and add them to your email list. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention that there are so many pop-up makers on the internet. Do your research and make the most out of this strategy, and you will not regret it. Now, what if you wanted to reach out to your email list? Let's take the last example of a landing page where you offer a resource in exchange for someone's name and email address. After they filled out that form, we have to deliver. We now have to actually send them that resource. Maybe it's an ebook, maybe it's a workbook, maybe it's a checklist. It can be literally anything that is valuable to them. If there are thousands of people on that list who signed up for that free resource, it would literally be hell if you had to individually send all of those emails to them. But if you properly set up an automation, the lead magnet or the resource that you've promised can automatically be sent to their inbox without you doing a thing. In addition, the emails that will be sent can be addressed to that specific person based on the data that they provided, meaning that you can actually say, "Hey Lisa, hey Brian." Not too shabby, eh? Imagine how much time you will save by automating the process instead of individually copy and pasting their email address, personalizing their names, and then clicking that send email button. Maybe sending 1,000 emails at once to an email list doesn't exactly whoa you, but being able to send documents to those people as the emails come in is a pretty incredible feature. Now, let's go even further with all that data that we've captured. Let's say that you've reached out to thousands of people in the last few days or weeks. Chances are the various people on that list probably all responded differently to your last email. Some might be interested, while some haven't responded at all. Either of the two, you still need to follow up with them. Did you know that most business-to-business companies don't respond to messages until about 42 hours later? Do you have any idea how awful that is? The modern day consumer, they can't handle that kind of wait time. And it actually is going to decrease the quality of the lead. It actually drops significantly if you don't respond to the first lead within 5 to 30 minutes. Pretty intense, I know. But let's say that you've created 2 different follow-up emails that should be sent. The first one should be sent to the individuals who opened and who responded to your first email. While the second follow-up will be for the people who still didn't even respond or even open that first email. Now, manually sending these different follow-up emails to hundreds of people would be such a time-consuming task. But with automated follow-up emails, you can easily deliver the right message to the right people at the perfect time. Another business task that you can automate is a booking calendar. Let's say 100 people want to talk with you about your business on a one-on-one video call. The challenge here would be to have a long and thoughtful conversations about scheduling the best time and day for both you and your potential client for this call. So instead of doing that, use a tool to streamline this process. One of the best automated scheduling softwares out there is Calendly. They offer a free plan that's more than plenty for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And their premium features are actually really affordable. So if you like this platform, see how much better you can utilize it with the paid features as well. But with the use of Calendly, you can send a link to the people where they can see your availability to schedule in a call. From that, they can choose the date and the time that also works for them. After they confirmed and scheduled the call, the software will keep track of all those bookings where you can view everything. Now, you also will get email notifications every single time someone schedules a call with you. That way, you don't have to worry about someone sending you another email. Now, one of the more advanced features of Calendly includes adding a payment processor, where let's say if you offered a paid hourly consultation, for example, they can take care of the payment for you so that their appointment is paid for before it even happens. Now, there are a number of different booking calendar softwares that you can use. Calendly is a great one, but other programs get even more advanced. But with a booking calendar, you don't need to get too advanced. I personally use a program called Book Like a Boss, but 90% of my clients and students, they're using Calendly because it has that free option. Now, so far, we've already discussed 5 different business tasks that you can automate. The next on the list is automating your onboarding process. There are a few steps on the onboarding process, both for employees and clients. Most of these can be automated, but let's just use one example for each. When onboarding an employee, one of the usual processes is to assign a number of accounts to each person. Creating accounts manually for different tools or on different websites, that can be a headache. So take, for instance, setting up an email for an employee at your domain name. The solution? Use softwares that can be connected to a multitude of software tools so that HR can create multiple accounts for each new hire all at once. This means that there are no longer a need for a person to be involved with creating accounts for each user within the company because the automation software tool can do it for you automatically. On the other hand, one of the processes of onboarding a client is to send a contract. By using automated softwares, the contract signing process can be easy, convenient, and secure, and all possible through integrating with a popular e-sign platforms such as Adobe Sign and DocuSign. Now, not only that, these platforms can also track the progress of each contract with automatic notifications for both you and the client. And as a result, contracts are never lost and the client is left with a positive impression of your efficiency right from the start. Pretty interesting, right? Now, another important business tool and business task that you need to do is generating leads. Now, a friend once taught me something very, very important that I want to share with you. He said, always be looking for clients. When I was getting started, he told me about how when he got so comfortable in his business, how at one point he had a lot of reoccurring contracts, but that if suddenly 1 or 2 major clients disappeared, suddenly he was scraping around trying to find new ones. It was so wise to always have leads within your pocket. We discussed how to automate this process in one of my last videos, Automate Your Lead Generation with Funnels. I'll link it in the info card above so that you can watch it if you haven't already. Now, automating taxes and expenses. This is the last but not least on the list, but this is where we can automate your taxes, expenses, and even your savings. So tracking and managing your money is an important part of running your business. But did you know that in the first year of running a business, that most people actually do this part really, really poorly? Some people forget to put money aside for taxes completely, or they think that they can save it all together at the end of the year. You should have a list of how much money is coming in and going out, and you should have an idea of where and how that money is going to be used or spent. So for this example, let's use a freelancing business. A great way for freelancers to automate certain savings is by signing up for certain services. So for solopreneurs, something like Catch.co could be a lifesaver for you. Within it, you'll able to make rules as to what happens with deposits from a specific source. Many freelancers use Upwork, and they're able to indicate in Catch that Upwork deposits are considered income. And then they dictate to the app or even the website what percentage of money to take out for their tax withholding, their retirement, so their RSPs, emergency funds, and even vacation days. Now, obviously, working for yourself as a freelancer means that you have to cover all of these costs. You don't have the luxury of having your employer assign you a set number of vacation days or paid sick days. You need to have some money somewhere, knowing that if you can't work or if you choose to not work for a specific period of time, you can still account for any expenses that are needed. So if you're not using any apps like Catch.co or something similar, I highly suggest that you look into them. They're not all advertised for business purposes, but it doesn't mean that they can't come in handy for business needs, such as saving for a new piece of software or setting aside money for an advertising campaign, and so on. Now, automating your business process is one of the best strategies in running a business today. It helps focus your attention on growing your business by freeing up valuable time spent on redundant processes and smaller, less important tasks within your business. The caveat here is that automating most of the process can be kind of expensive. This is because it requires the integration of certain applications or softwares. The software can be expensive, but with so many emerging technologies, you can find one or two that offer free plans or at least a lower fee. Where free accounts do mean limited functionality, they can still be so unbelievably helpful, especially when your business is just starting out or when you're adapting to a larger number of clients and don't have as much free time. It's true that you do have to spend money to make money. And if spending money in this case means signing up with some kind of software, it still costs you a lot less than hiring an employee. So don't shy away from paid softwares or applications, but make sure that you do your shopping. Browse these products, weigh the features, think about whether or not you'll use all of them, and figure out what's within budget and what's not within budget. And if funds are tight for you, the first thing you should do is look for free alternatives. Don't just go looking at the best software first. That's like shopping for a pair of really expensive shoes that you know that you cannot afford. You will be tempted to buy it, but you'll probably end up disappointing yourself. So instead, excite yourself using something that's available to you for free. Now, in choosing what processes to automate, I think one of the most important things is knowing what you actually need. I think the best first step is to create a list of 2 columns. What do I need for my business needs? And what do I need, or what are my personal needs? From that point on, it's a lot more easier to know where exactly you should be putting your focus when it comes to automating your business. Now, if you feel excited but equally overwhelmed by all of this, break it down for yourself. So for instance, maybe you're ready to automate your scheduling with a website like Calendly, but you have no desire to even think about tax withholding. Cool, no problem. Go to your calendar. And that's assuming you have one, of course. And if you don't have one, whoa, okay, that actually is a problem. And make a note that in a week or 2 from today, that you'll handle the tax withholding automation with Catch or another provider then. You have a ton of options, but you don't have to rush and do it all at once. Or you could, but only if you can be productive. Not if you're ADHD type where you want to do all 10 things, but you can't quite get around to all of them. I think you see what I'm trying to say here. Make lists, schedule these things if needed, and figure out what is the most important thing to you right now within your business. I would actually love to hear all about the business tasks or the processes that you already have or maybe you want to automate within your business. What would they be? Are there things that you've already automated? If so, what are they? And how has this process been for you? Let me know that right down in the comments, but let's wrap this up for today. And as always, if you've learned something new, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on how to maximize your marketing efforts. But of course, as always, I will see you next week and enjoy your day. Bye.